न पायो। यह भजन किस अवस्था में, किस उम्र में गाने के लिए आ गया, ये मुझे याद नहीं। संस्कृति का अर्थ है जिसमें हमारा सामाजिक परिवेश, साहित्य, संगीत सभी समाहित हो। आज दिन भर की चर्चा में साहित्य में राम हमने सुना, बहुत कुछ ग्रहण किया। अब हमारा इस सत्र का संबंध है संगीत से। गीतम, वाद्यम तथा नृत्यम। आज अभी तीनों का समावेश होगा हमारे इस सभागार में। आज के कलाकार हैं गुरु श्रीमती देवयानी चटर्जी, डॉक्टर रमा दास, डॉक्टर सुजीत घोष, कुमारी अश्मिता मिश्रा, डॉक्टर माधवी नानन, डॉक्टर के शशि कुमार, पंडित विनोद द्विवेदी। उसके बाद एक ग्रुप डांस होगा, ढेठिया ग्रुप डांस। तो मैं सबसे पहले आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्रीमती देवयानी चटर्जी को। श्रीमती देवयानी चटर्जी, आप जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत करें हमारी कलाकार देवयानी चटर्जी जी का। आपके संबंध में माफ करेंगे, संगीत की दुनिया में खो गई। इस सत्र की अध्यक्षता करेंगे पंडित विजय शंकर मिश्र जी और हमारे विशिष्ट अतिथि होंगे इस सत्र के श्री के.सी. मालू जी।
Joined us from Kolkata, and she also teaches zoology in college. Wow! And she will present her paper in Rama, the Uttam Nayaki in Performing Arts in a Trans-Asian Perspective. She is a national award winner in Bharatnatyam and also teaches Bharatnatyam at her institute, Pravakkala Bhumi. And now I request Devyani Chatterjee to present the paper.
अब मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ डॉक्टर लावण्य कीर्ति सिंह जी को कि आप हमारे कलाकार को सम्मानित करें।
Namaskar. Before I begin to say anything, I will ask for apology to all of you because I will be speaking in English. क्षमा कर दीजिएगा, मुझे हिंदी इतनी ज़्यादा अच्छी नहीं आती है मुझे, तो I'll be speaking in English. Hope you will bear with me. First, I would like to convey my sincere appreciation to Vyanjana Society and the Jhunjhunwala group of institutions to give me this wonderful opportunity to be at this holy place at Ayodhya, and also the opportunity to listen to so many Gunijanas from the morning. I have been enriched and I am blessed to be among you all. But since time is of shortage, I will move on to the topic which I will be discussing today. The title of my paper is Rama, the Uttama Nayaka in Performing Arts in a Trans-Asian Perspective. But before I go on to that topic, I will begin with two lines from the Vishnu Sahasranama. Ram Ram Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulya Ramanama Varanage. These are lines from the Vishnu Sahasranama where Lord Shiva explains to Parvati the easiest way to reach to the Parabrahman, the easiest, simplest way to chant the 1,000 names of Sri Vishnu just by uttering Ram, Ram, Ram. So, at this holy place, in this holy moment, I will speak about Ram. Incarnation of Lord Sri Vishnu, the king of Ayodhya, as described by Valmiki and later on by so many innumerable poets. Rama was the embodiment of beauty, divinity, saulabhya, charm. But surpassing all these unique physical attributes, the most glorifying quality that has made Sri Rama the universal hero was his righteousness. His adherence to the path of truth and dharma, and the perfection with which he executed all the actions of his life. And that is what has made him the Uttama Purusha, irrespective of nature, nation, culture, language and religion. An icon, the perfect hero across the globe. Now, like most other Indians, my acquaintance with Sri Rama began at a very early age when hearing stories, bedtime stories, reading in school, books. But I got reintroduced to him through my art form. And that was when the true intensity of his character unfolded into my soul. It was then that I realized that Rama is not confined in the lines of the Ramayana. He is not the perfect hero only to the mass of our nation, but his expanse, he covers, his influence has spread beyond the scriptures, the doctrines, the texts, the books, and he has become an icon for Indian as well as international tradition and culture and art forms. One cannot stop elaborating about the intensity of his attributes, so I'll confine my discussion only to cover those aspects which crown him the Uttama Purusha in performing arts in India and beyond India across Asia. Sri Rama and his acts of valor, compassion, his unflinching adherence to the truth has been a favorite and popular topic for performing artists in India since ages. He is the true Uttama Nayaka and he fulfills all the criteria of the Uttama Nayaka as is laid down in the Natya Shastra. The Natya Shastra is the most ancient treatise on dramaturgy, and it is like a holy book for all performers in India. Now, Abhinava Gupta, who has explained the Natya Shastra, according to him, the various gunas that the Uttama Nayaka should possess, there are three categories of Nayakas in Natya Shastra. The Uttama Nayaka, the Madhyama Nayaka and the Adhama Nayaka. Now, these are the gunas or attributes that the Uttama Nayaka should possess. Shortage of time, so I will not elaborate on each and every point, but you can see on screen the various gunas and you can very well make out that Sri Rama fulfills all of them. From Valmiki Ramayana to Tulsidas Ramayana and the other Sanskrit versions, he is described as one who is in complete harmony with righteousness and the person with the perfect balance of the Purusharthas, that is Dharma, Artha and Kama. Dharma was supreme, and for anyone to whom Dharma is the pinnacle, then everything falls into place automatically. He is the perfect protagonist with all the traits of an Uttama Nayaka, also fulfilling the qualities of the Anukula Nayaka. The Anukula Nayaka is the perfect husband, the perfect hero, one who is deeply in love with his woman and is faithful to her and her only, and also the Dhirodhata Nayaka, the perfect righteous king and leader. These are the different classifications, the other classifications of the Nayaka in the Natya Shastra, and I have highlighted the two Nayakas, the categories in which Sri Rama falls. So he is the Uttama Nayaka, the Anukula Nayaka and the Dhirodhata Nayaka. So with all these attributes, he is the a perfect Purusha, more divine than human. An obvious icon whose tales of glory have crossed boundaries over centuries and become an integral part of the cultural heritage of many nations. Now there have been more than 300 versions of the Ramayana. Some of them are in Sanskrit. I will not go into their names because of shortage of time. And many others are in the regional languages from Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Assamese, Bengali, Odia, Marathi, Konkani and Urdu. We have heard about almost all of them in the previous lecture, so I'll not go into details. But this doesn't end here. The Rama narratives are found documented throughout Asia. From East Asia, that is China, Tibet, Japan, Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Philippines, Laos, Malaysia, Indonesia, so many other places, South Asia and West Asia, and such a complete inspiring character was that of Sri Rama that he has been accepted and adapted as the Nayaka irrespective of the religious beliefs as well, such as in Buddhism and Jainism too. So naturally, he is a very, very favorite patra for performing artists. He depicts the ideal Purusha, and since the Indian traditional dance or art forms are rooted in divinity, so the values, ideologies and the social messages that are conveyed through them are manifested through the characters which portray them. So naturally, Rama with all his divine attributes is a popular choice for dancers, his tales of glory conceptualized and presented in a variety of forms. And from Sri Tyagaraja to Tulsidasa, this has been documented. I will move on to the Trans-Asian perspective, where we will look at the different Rama art forms which are in practice. This is a picture of the Indian dance forms portraying the Rama story. We will go on first to Cambodia and we'll see a picture. Previous slide please. This is the remaker of Cambodia, where it is the epic saga of Prince Rama, his story of justice and fidelity, but this is adapted in Buddhist themes. And this is an integral part of the Cambodian culture. This character Rama is known as Frey Rama, and here he is not portrayed as a divine, but as a mortal with natural strength and weaknesses. And his story almost remains the same as is seen in India, but with a little differences here and there. I'm rushing into the next slide, next country, Malaysia, where this is known as the Hikayat Seri Rama, or the Chronicle of the Great Rama. This, here the concept is more on state and kingship in Malaysia, but it is also very much an integral part of the Malaysian culture, where the entire Rama saga is depicted in this form. We next go on to the Ramakien of Thailand. We have had a few little enlightenment on this topic from our previous speakers. Ramakien literally means the glory of Rama, and it is Thailand's national epic, and it is a part of the royal ballet. This part of literature or culture was given by the three current versions, the Rama King Rama 1, King Rama 2, and it has become the basic structure for the Khon drama. And it is a firm component of the Thai culture. If you look at the Ramakien murals at the Wat Phra Kaew of the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, there we find the 178 colorful murals dating from the 18th century depicting the story of Sri Rama. We move on to Laos, where it is called Phra Lam, the names for Lakshmana and Rama respectively. And these are presented in the royal courts. It's a mainstay of dance and drama, song, painting, religious scripts. texts and manuscripts. They are the epitome of moral leadership, ethics, selflessness, and it is associated with the previous life of Siddhartha Gautama. The particular peculiar feature of this form is the usage of paper masks for both all the main characters, especially Rama and Lakshmana. We go on to the Wayang of Indonesia. It is puppet or human theatre, where Wayang Wong or Wayang Orang is literally the human Wayang. It's a Japanese theatrical performance by dancers that displays the themes from Rama's life story. We move on to the Yamazato of Burma, which is the Myanmar's national, unofficially Myanmar's national epic. And this is such an integral part of the culture of Burma that almost all of us are quite acquainted with these pictures. I'm not going into details because of reasons all known to us. I'll move on to Kakawin of Java. Kakawin literally means kavya. It is the kavya version that we say kavya, that is Kakawin in Java. And it is like held, the fact is held that it is very much influenced by the Ravanavada Kavya by the poet Bhatti. The Bhatti Kavya that we know of, that has very much influenced the Kakawin of Java. We move on to my last topic here, that is the Singkil of Philippines, which is actually the pre-Islamic Marano interpretation of the Rama story. Here the lead dancer, known as Putri Gan, is actually the name for Sita, and here it's a little bit different from the others in the fact that the lead dancer dances between poles while actually manipulating other props in her hand, like the fans or scarves, or sometimes with bare hands also. Now these were some of the most important dance theatre forms based on drama that we find in entire Asia. If I go for a comparative viewpoint about the Indian dance forms representing drama and that of the other Asian dance forms, the basic difference that we find is that in India, the Ram story or the epic saga, Rama saga, is actually formatted in a solo presentation format, but also sometimes represented as group performances as well. Whereas in Asia, it is basically a dance theatre or a dance drama with much emphasis on the realistic approach, costumes, accessories, set design and other decors. So, this is the last part. Pardon? Okay, I'll finish here. Sorry, I will have to discontinue from this point and I'll just go on to what I was about to say. You can see it on the screen, and I'll move on to a little bit of presentation which is actually extempore, because I was not prepared for this presentation since the time was of shortage, but since I've been requested, I'll present a 1-minute presentation on Sri Rama, depicting somewhat the picture that is behind me, that is the Sringara Rasa. It is a Uthugadu Pada written by the famous Tamil Uthugadu Venkata Subbaiah poet, and it is in Ragam Hamsanandi, and I'll try to represent Rama in the way in which I know best, that is through my dance. Hopefully, I'll be able to convey the Uttama Nayaka quality characteristic of Sri Rama and why he holds such an important position in our tradition and culture. I will go on to the presentation directly. Thank you so much. And just one point, I will just like to remind all of you that yesterday, that is 29th of April, was a very important day for us dancers because it was the World Dance Day. And I had a festival yesterday which I missed because I had to come here. So this is my tribute to World Dance Day and to all the Rasikas who have gathered here today to commemorate Indian culture and drama. Thank you.